This is between us, the wizard, and I.
If you are a fan of fantasy and fairy tale, stay tuned till the end of this video, because I have something special for you. Today, I am back with a topic that is going to hit you like a bus full of nostalgia, because today's video is about a book we have all heard or read about. That is right. Today we will be discussing every dark secret and fan theory from The Wizard of Oz, starting from how Dorothy's name truly came to be, to numerous instances of our beloved stars almost passing away. We will cover it all. And before we get into the video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and ring the bell icon so that you never miss out on any updates from us. In fact, make sure you stick around till the end of the video because we will be talking about an upcoming movie that is very closely related to the story of this universe. So grab a bucket of popcorn, get a drink, and get ready for an adventure. Every dark secret and fan theory from The Wizard of Oz.
The wind began to switch, the house to pitch, and suddenly the hinges started to unhitch.
Dorothy's name came from a real tragedy. Dorothy Gale sounds like such a delicate, such a charming and innocent name, almost perfect for the heroine in the story. But the truth behind choosing this name is something extremely heartbreaking. L. Frank Baum chose this name because this was the name of his infant niece, Dorothy Louise Gage. Dorothy was born in the year 1898, but she tragically passed away at the young age of just 5 months. Her death was very unexpected, and their entire family was extremely shocked and devastated, especially L. Frank Baum's wife, who had become deeply attached to the little girl. To make sure he was not consumed by grief, he decided to immortalize his niece by giving the heroine of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz her name. Since then, every single time a reader or speculator has delved deep into this story has unknowingly been giving tribute to a young and loved soul. For a story that has literally given rise to numerous heartwarming genres and is marketed as joyful and full of whimsy, the entire foundation is created by the idea of grief and acceptance. When you realize that Dorothy's longing for home may have been influenced by Baum's own longing for a life that was torn apart by death, the character takes on a more somber meaning. The Wizard of Oz was not just a story for children to have that would give them a world to escape to. It was also a way for Baum to give someone he loved a life that they never truly got to experience. Suddenly,
There's no place like home.
Feels more like a mournful cry and a loved tribute than a sweet catchphrase that made us all appreciate home just a little bit more.
Why, you're nothing but a great big coward.
You're right, I am a coward.
The Cowardly Lion's costume was made from real lion skin. How can anyone forget the Cowardly Lion? The character was so unique, so scared all the time, but he was also one of the most memorable things about the movie. But did you know that behind his costume lies a dark story that would be considered messed up in today's world? To make sure that the character looked real enough, actor Burt Lahr was made to wear actual lion skin and fur, specially designed to fit him perfectly. Although perfect in fit more or less, the costume in itself weighed around 90 pounds. To add to the discomfort, back in those days, AC was not easily accessible in movie studios, so he used to have to wear the costume for hours in extremely hot temperatures. Lahr often sweated so much inside it that the crew had to dry the costume overnight to prepare it for the next day of filming. Just think how crazy this is. While we were enjoying Lahr's performance as the goofy, lovable lion who skillfully sang "If I Were King of the Forest," the actor was practically suffocating in his own costume, which was once a majestic being in itself. The costume also restricted body movements like crazy, so each and every time he wanted to lift his hands up, he had to use crazy amounts of energy. In today's world, owning animal skin in itself would be enough to get you cancelled, much less making someone wear it and do a performance in it. But back in those days, people would accept it as long as it ensured that the final outcome was up to the mark and up to the audience's expectations. After the film, the costume was preserved and eventually sold at auction in 2014 for nearly $3 million. And this can be considered as a reminder that Hollywood almost blurred the line between magic and cruelty. As children, The character may have been our co-fought character, but as we grow up knowing the truth, the reality seems to be much more disturbing than we could have ever thought. The Cowardly Lion wasn't just pretending to wear a predator's skin, he literally was wearing it.
Unusual weather we're having, ain't it?
Look, he's rusted again.
The snow was toxic asbestos. Do you remember watching The Wizard of Oz? And suddenly, the magical poppy field comes on screen, which manages to save Dorothy and her friends from sleep by a sudden dusting of snow. Well, the scene in itself seems very warm-hearted and innocent, but what the actors were breathing in was anything but safe. During the production and shooting of the scene, the snow that we saw falling on the actors was something that is highly toxic and is the #1 cause of cancer in the world. If you guessed asbestos, you would be damn right. Asbestos is not only toxic, but it can also give rise to other health problems over time. Back in the 1930s, instead of using real snow, movie production houses widely used asbestos as a fake substitute because it was fireproof and, well, looked kind of realistic on camera. Often, it was thrown or sprinkled on actors without even a second thought. Now, you might think maybe they did the entire thing in one go, but you would be so far off the truth. During the theatrical plays and the actual shoots that took multiple takes, mind you, the actors had to inhale clouds and clouds of asbestos. Imagine Judy Garland, Ray Bolger, Jack Haley, and Burt Lahr all choking down toxic fibers while smiling through one of the film's most whimsical scenes. Back in those days, the awareness behind the harmful effects of asbestos was not really studied properly, so to blame others does not seem correct for sure. But the irony of the scene is very grim. While Dorothy and her friends were being saved by the snow, the real-life actors and depictors were being poisoned, all while pretending like things were getting better. Funnily, asbestos was frequently used during Christmas to make decorations during those times, and it makes things just that more scary. For kids, the movie and the poppy field scene might seem inspiring and fun, but for adults, the truth can send shivers down the spine, not because it is cold, but because it shows how little regard Hollywood had for its actors' safety. The scene that once symbolized wonder now symbolizes one of the darkest practices of early filmmaking. The original Tin Man nearly died. Back in the 1930s, just like asbestos, a lot of other harmful substances were deemed normal to be used in movies and shoots, and because of one of these things, the main lead of the character of Tin Man almost passed away. Buddy Ebsen, who was the original cast of the Tin Man, suddenly had a life-threatening allergic reaction to the aluminum that was mixed in the paint used for his character. The aluminum dust was so heavy and toxic that by the half point of the shoot, his lungs had been thoroughly coated by it, which caused them to fail. Thankfully, he was rushed to the hospital, where he spent weeks recovering in an oxygen tent. The producers could not afford this delay and were desperate to finish the movie on time, so they almost instantly hired an actor, Jack Haley. After reflecting on their previous mistake, the costume designers tweaked the formula a bit, and this time, instead of showering the person in aluminum powder, they mixed the powder as a paste so that the damage was minimal. Although this method was useful, even Jack Haley was not safe. Soon after the shoot restarted, he developed severe eye infections from the makeup, and later even admitted that the role of Tin Man was far from a dream job. Imagine how sad it was for Ebsen, though. You got a role everyone was dreaming of landing, and you suffered because the studio wanted authenticity, and as soon as you fell sick, you were instantly removed and not even acknowledged. Hell, after the film made its first premiere, he was not even invited to the screening. As children, the Tin Man is a symbol of kindness and longing for love, but in reality, his creation came at the cost of physical suffering. Every time he sings, "If I Only Had a Heart," it's haunting to remember that the man who was supposed to play him nearly lost his life.
Judy must lose some weight, but the part of Dorothy is hers.
Judy Garland was forced to starve. Imagine a 16-year-old girl getting exploited and fat-shamed in today's society. People would run to save her at a moment's notice. But back in the 1930s, unfortunately, no one was there to shield Judy Garland from tyrants who ruined her self-worth for many, many years. These tyrants were mostly the MGM executives and even the studio head, Louis B. Mayer. Mayer used to reportedly body-shame Judy from their very first meeting, and he even called her a fat little pig with pigtails. In order to force her into the image of a young, slender girl, the MGM executives started to control every aspect of her life, especially her diet. They were so obsessed with getting Judy into the figure needed for the role that they put her on a diet that consisted only of black coffee, chicken soup, and hundreds of packets of cigarettes. Throughout the entire time they were shooting the film, Judy was constantly reminded of how she was not thin enough, pretty enough, or even talented enough for the film, although she was the main lead. That is just crazy. While children saw Dorothy as an innocent girl chasing dreams, Garland, behind the camera, was suffering under immense pressure. The entire abuse was so bad that even years after the movie was released, Judy suffered from issues such as not having enough self-worth, substance abuse, and she even developed eating disorders. Instead of being told that she was doing a good job and correcting her flaws, the MGM executives ruined her both mentally and physically just for the sake of their own profit. The entire time Judy was on screen, every emotion she showed was completely forced. Every smile she showed on screen had hundreds of tears hidden behind it. For fans who grew up believing Dorothy was a symbol of purity, it's heartbreaking to learn that Judy Garland's innocence was stolen from her by the very people who put her in those ruby slippers. The Wicked Witch was badly burned. Margaret Hamilton was so good as the Wicked Witch that she managed to terrify and captivate the audience just with her performance, but she also had to pay a hefty price while depicting her character. If you guys remember, during the famous scene where she disappears in a puff of smoke and fire, a trap door actually broke down and malfunctioned. Instead of dropping beneath the stage safely as the fireworks blew up, she was actually stuck while the pyrotechnics exploded around her. Due to the explosions, she actually suffered from third-degree burns. For months, she had to be under intensive care and could barely recover. And if you thought that was enough torture, well, Margaret, even after going through so much, had to stay covered in a toxic green paint for hours, and she could only consume liquids through a straw to avoid ingesting it. Maybe her character was cursed because even her stunt double was not safe. During the shoot, her stunt double, Betty Danko, also had a major accident when a pipe attached to the broomstick exploded. This blast left her with numerous scars on her legs made from the blasts. On screen, the Wicked Witch's fiery entrances and exits were meant to be thrilling illusions. Off-screen, they were genuine dangers that caused real pain. For children, the Wicked Witch was a scary but fun character, but for adults who know the truth, the character is so much more, and knowing that the actress almost gave up her life for the role makes the character so much deeper. Judy Garland was slapped by the director. If you thought the torture Judy went through was bad already, you will hate this upcoming fact. Like any other kid, Judy was childish and loved to laugh. Even with all the pressure she was under, during a few scenes, Judy slipped up and giggled a few times. Now, as a mature adult, you should be guiding her correctly, but instead, director Victor Fleming got super angry. He pulled Judy to the side and slapped her right across her face, and told her to get back in the scene. To everyone now, this might sound shocking, but back then, it was actually quite common. Fleming later directed Gone with the Wind and was hailed as one of Hollywood's greats. But the idea of physically assaulting a teenager to make her act highlights just how abusive old Hollywood really was. After a lot of time, Fleming actually grew conscious and felt guilty about how he treated Judy on the set. He asked the crew to slap him as a punishment, but no one was willing to do it. In fact, Judy, the kid he slapped, was so eager to please him that instead of slapping him, she kissed him on the nose. To this very day, so many Garland fans see this incident as a symbol of how a young actress was trying to smile through abuse just because she was desperate to get the approval from the powerful men controlling her life. Sorry to ruin the movie, but the next time you laugh at the lion's silly antics, just remember that the moment almost did not happen just because a kid giggled a few times. Garland was hooked on pep pills. As we know, Judy Garland has had a major problem with substance abuse, but almost all her problems began during the shoot of The Wizard of Oz. Many people who were MGM executives, and even her own mom, fed her numerous amphetamines, which are also called pep pills. This was done to keep her energized throughout the day, so that her performance was not lacking in any way. The problem was that these pep pills made her stay up at night, resulting in her getting tired later, so they even put her on sleeping pills so that she would stay knocked out for at least a few hours. Garland herself later admitted that she was chemically trained from a young age to take a pill to wake up, a pill to perform, and a pill to sleep. Due to the production studio and pressure from the executives, there were days when she had to work for 72 hours straight, and working for so long for a young kid is nothing short of torture. Due to this, she had to take more and more pills to keep up with the grueling schedule, and she slowly developed a major problem that would haunt her for the rest of her life. In fact, these pills led to her having a lot of psychological issues, and it was also the reason she passed away just at the age of 47. As children, we see Dorothy as a wide-eyed dreamer, but the reality is that behind those wide eyes were pupils dilated from amphetamines and a body fueled by substances she should never have been exposed to. The film promised us a fantasy over the rainbow. Instead, Judy Garland's real rainbow was clouded by addiction and exploitation.
Well, I'm a little muddled. The Munchkins call me because a new witch has just dropped a house.
The Munchkins were out of control. The Munchkins were one of the few characters that everyone loved on screen. They were short, they were fun, and most importantly, they were one of the best characters in the movie, but they are also the proper example of how good actors can actually pretend to be, because the Munchkins in real life were far from what they portrayed themselves to be. Behind the scenes, as the movie was being shot, some of the actors actually gained a name for being disruptive and very rowdy. Even Judy Garland's ex-husband gave a statement where he claimed that certain male Munchkin actors were heavy drinkers who often showed up to set hungover, unruly, and even harassed Garland herself on numerous occasions. There are many reports of them grabbing co-stars, and there have been instances where they grabbed and groped Garland herself. The studio even had to assign wranglers just to make sure that the Munchkins stayed under control. To make things worse, many of them were arrested after bar fights, only to be bailed out by MGM because they were too important to lose. It does not matter if all of these stories were true or not, because numerous eyewitnesses have come forward, so it is all right to say that the actors were definitely not nice in any way. The Munchkins' squeaky, innocent voices and playful songs may bring joy to kids, but knowing about their off-screen antics paints them in a much darker light. Auntie M's actress died by suicide. The saddest fact of this video is here, and unfortunately, this fact happened years after the movie was shot and shown. Clara Blandick was a well-known and renowned actress who played the role of Dorothy's kind and loving Auntie M. For years, she was loved and respected for her role, and she was well into her 80s when her health started to degrade greatly due to chronic pain and other problems. By the year 1962, she had slowly gone blind and even contracted an unbearable illness that eventually led to her taking her own life. During her final moments, Blandick dressed in her best gown, surrounded herself with her awards and mementos, and left a note reading, "I am now about to make the great adventure. I cannot endure this agonizing pain any longer. I pray the Lord my soul to take." She then overdosed on sleeping pills. For the people who grew up watching her, she was the literal heart of Kansas. Her character was the very reason Dorothy even wanted to return back to home. But knowing that such a beloved actor had to take her own life due to not being able to bear so much pain is truly devastating. It is honestly the darkest reminder that Hollywood magic often came at a terrible cost. Wait. We are not done yet. We know the 10 events have been talked about, but just for the sake of respecting everyone who was attached to this movie, let us talk about a hot topic that is spreading on the internet like wildfire, and that is Wicked, for good.
Technically unexplainable journey into the outer stratosphere.
Bonus: Wicked, for good. The darkness of Oz returns. Just when you thought the lore of Oz could not get darker, Hollywood came in like a wrecking ball and broke through this delusion. The upcoming movie, Wicked, for Good, is a sequel to 2024's Wicked, and this movie is going to be diving deeper into L. Frank Baum's world. And honestly, we think that the story is about to get much darker, and the stakes are going to be much higher. The trailer, released in June of 2025, gave us a haunting glimpse of the aftermath of Elphaba's rebellion. By now, she has gone underground after being branded the Wicked Witch, while Glinda has embraced power and privilege as the public face of Oz's regime. But, thankfully, this is not just Glinda and Elphaba's story anymore. The writers are going back to the storyteller's root, and we can say this because the trailer has dropped numerous hints of Dorothy's fateful arrival in Oz, suggesting that maybe, just maybe, her journey will collide with theirs in ways that reshape the legend we thought we knew. After seeing the trailer, it seems like the story is actually going to get even more interesting because the two friends are finally going to go against each other, and it may finally follow up on the original story of The Wizard of Oz. Hell, even the music carries a darker, heavier weight, suggesting the finale will be as much tragedy as triumph. Finally, we have gotten a good story that is full of power, sacrifice, and the painful truths hidden behind fairy tales, instead of it just being a girl who clicks her heels. If you thought the original Wizard of Oz had disturbing secrets, this sequel looks ready to make the Emerald City even more unsettling. After viewing all these disturbing facts, we do not know about you, but the story of the Wizard of Oz has definitely been ruined for us. Although this story is always going to be the cornerstone of movie history, the deep and dark secrets hidden beneath its cheerful songs and vibrant colors are just too dark for some people. Turns out, the yellow brick road wasn't paved with magic after all. Honestly, it was paved with the suffering of those who made it possible. The next time you all might hear the phrase, "There's no place like home," you might feel a shiver run down your spine, and that is because the world behind the curtain was never as magical as Oz itself. If you enjoyed our video, please hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and make sure you stay updated with our channel by ringing the bell icon, and we promise you that we will bring you more interesting videos.